really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Now, usually I come on to, some music, favorite hip-hop song of mine, songs that you may suggest of mine, but today, with it being such a great holiday honoring a wonderful man, I thought it was only appropriate that I played a speech of his. That was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s last speech on April 3rd, 1968, before he was tragically assassinated the next day in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. I've seen a lot of the tributes on TV, the NBA. They usually do something every year. I know they usually play 2 games on TNT, one in Memphis, and I think there's one in Atlanta where he was born and where he unfortunately was taken from us far too soon at the age of 39. But it's Monday. You know why I'm here. Welcome to yet another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback. I am the creator and the founder and the NFL/college football analyst of a brand called the Daily Blitz, where we specialize in everything football 24/7, 365. Have another slightly jam-packed show for you. It was the start of Super Wildcard Weekend. 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and there's one more tonight, and then we will be headed to the divisional round. My personal favorite round of the playoffs. A lot of great memories have taken place in that round. I'm going to talk about how Georgia exactly beat Alabama last week. Remember, there was a national championship being played. There's that. What caught my eye in Super Wildcard Weekend, a look ahead to some of the matchups, because I believe 1, 2, 3 of the matchups are set. One more is to be determined by the winner of tonight. They will go to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. First game on Sunday afternoon. But with that being said, I'm going to also go to the phone lines. I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to promote. I'm going to end the show. Sound like a plan? So let's dive right into it. No time being wasted. Now, there was a national championship last Monday night. One that everybody thought we were going to see. The Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide. These were by far the 2 best teams in college football. Like I said on a previous show, it was Georgia, it was Alabama. You could flip one of them. It really didn't make a difference, just as long as you had those 2 at the top of the list, and it was everybody else in college football. Looking up at them, it's been a three-peat in the SEC. LSU won it for the 2019 season. Alabama won it for the 2020 season. And now the Georgia Bulldogs have finally been crowned champions. Congratulations to them. What a year they had. They were the best team in college football, and I just love the way they played. They played strategic football, meaning they made you think that you had a chance, but they would wear down on you. So they give you a little bit of a quarter, and then from the remainder of the game, they would take over. Best defense I've ever seen from a national champion that I've seen. Look, I know there's been plenty before me, but I'm going by what I've seen. But how did Georgia do it? So you look back at the SEC championship on December 4th, right? And I kept saying For Georgia to win this game, the key is to get pressure on Bryce Young. You cannot allow him to sit back in that pocket, buy time, and just have him throw the ball all over the field. I loved Georgia's improved game plan. It was simple. Make it difficult for Bryce Young, and that was the most uncomfortable he's looked all year long. They rushed forward. They never really blitzed, and when they did blitz, they would do that delayed blitz that I'm always talking about, where they'd send a linebacker or a safety. But mainly, they would blitz with a lot of corners. That front four really set the tone, and I said before the game, the key to the game was going to be who could win that battle of the trenches up front. Would it be Alabama's offensive line, or would it be Georgia's defensive front? And Georgia's defensive front delivered and came through when they needed to. How about Stetson Bennett? Stetson, I know he's received his fair share of criticism, and here's the thing. He's not the flashiest quarterback. He's shorter, so that plays into a lot of his skill sets, but he has great footwork, and when he's mobile and able to move his feet, good things usually happen for him. And whenever you needed him to make a big throw, he answered the call, and he would deliver. He made a couple of dimes last Monday night. I was so impressed. The whole dynamic of this game changed when Jamison Williams went down. Now remember, they were already without John Mechie III. He tore his ACL in the first meeting between these two in December. Now you lose Jamison Williams, who unfortunately tore his ACL as well, wishing both those guys a speedy recovery. Georgia just set the tone of the game. They dominated, and Alabama could never really get into a rhythm. First, it was a field goal game. Georgia and Alabama were trading field goals, and we finally got some scoring in the second half, and Georgia just imposed its will. And I think Alabama, they were just too physically dominated. Georgia returned a pick six, which pretty much sealed the deal for them to win that championship. And for the first time since 1980, the Georgia Bulldogs have won it all. So we talked about Jim Harbaugh getting that monkey off his back by beating Ohio State, which he did, and they ended up winning the Big Ten East. How about Kirby Smart? Kind of had the same pressure on him. Never really been able to beat Nick Saban, and he finally got him. And Kirby and Nick have such a great friendship and respect for one another. I know Kirby has referred to him as a great mentor, and Nick has always been loyal to him. Just so happy for the Georgia Bulldogs. And remember what I was saying at the beginning of the year? This was their best shot at winning a championship. If they didn't, I think their window would have been a little bit more closed. And here they are. They're the champs until they're not anymore. Can't wait to see what happens in the off season, who they recruit, who they lose. That's the one thing about college football is the turnover. You're not going to, unfortunately, be able to bring back everybody. Some guys are going to declare eligible for the NFL draft, and some guys are going to enter the transfer portal. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. I have a feeling it's going to be these two once again. It's them and everybody else. We got another SEC showdown, but hey, maybe some of these other conferences should get a little better and amp up their rosters so they can compete. So got that out the way. They made Bryce Young look bad. If you look at how Bryce has played throughout the year, Bryce literally had all day to throw that football. You remember what else I was saying about the Alabama defense? They really didn't scare me like they have in previous years when they were winning championships. There was a lot of youth on his defense. Will Anderson Jr., I can't wait to see what he does next. Just his explosiveness kind of reminds me a little bit of Darius Leonard. Kind of been thinking of who I could compare him to, and I think that's a pretty fair comparison. Bryce Young's probably coming back. Remember, he's young. Excuse me. He won the Heisman. He's only going to get better. I don't think he's necessarily a pro prospect right now. I think he has a few things to work on, per se. But tough way to end the year for Alabama, but remember, they've won it so many times, so it's kind of good to see when other teams win it, or, as a lot of people say, it's happy when teams beat them to win the whole thing. that concluded the college football season. It was a great year for college football, personally for me. Just getting the chance to go to college game day, that's an experience that I'm still talking about to this very day. And it's something I'll never forget. I hope to get to another one. That's how much I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, but that concludes the 2021-2022 college football season. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs once again. Kirby finally got him one, and so did the city of Athens. That's 2 championships in the last couple of months for the entire state of Georgia. The Atlanta Braves won the World Series, and the Georgia Bulldogs won the national championship. So maybe Atlanta's starting to come around, because they've been cursed a little bit with championships. I'm not going to go into detail because I think you guys know what it is I'm talking about. But let's switch to the NFL's Super Wild Card Weekend. 18 weeks have come and gone, and now we're in the books. Now it's time to see who is going to get to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California on Sunday, February 13th, 2022. Almost had the wrong year, but I think I'm out of that habit now. There was, like I said at the top of the show, there were 2 games on Saturday, 3 yesterday, and then there's 1 tonight. So let's talk about Saturday first. Las Vegas Raiders just getting in, playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, coming into this game, both teams are going to end a losing streak. The Raiders haven't won a playoff game since 2002. That was the 2002 AFC Championship game, anchored by an MVP named Rich Gannon. That just goes to show you how long it's been. And the Bengals have not won a playoff game since the 1990 season. I believe Boomer Esiason was still their quarterback at the time. So a streak was going to end. Now, coming into the game, I was worried about the Raiders because I didn't know if they had enough firepower to keep up with the Cincinnati Bengals. And Cincinnati, as I was telling somebody before the game, I sometimes don't trust their defense because they can struggle at times. They can give up a ton of big plays, and they sometimes rely on their defense a little too much to bail them out. Now, before the game, I was answering some questions, and somebody had asked me, who could I compare Joe Burrow to? And now I had, 2 guys. One, he has the mentality of a Tom Brady. I'm not saying he plays like Tom Brady, so do not twist up my words or misconstrue anything, because I'm not saying that. Tom is an all-time great, the greatest to some people. And Burrow is still up and coming, and the ceiling, he's barely scratched the surface yet. The ceiling is high for him. He has that mindset where he feels he can complete every pass, and if he doesn't, just like Tom, he's angry. He has that look on his face. How didn't he catch that? But as I'm watching the game a little bit more, he's the closest thing I've seen to Drew Brees. And what I mean by that is he spreads the ball around just like Drew did. If you're open, you're getting the ball. That's exactly how it was with Drew when he was with the Saints. You didn't really see that too much with the Chargers, but when he was with the Saints, if a guy was open, he had it. And he just knew how to overthrow people or throw people open, as I like to say. And I see that exact same style of play with Joe Burrow. The Bengals got out to an early start. It looked like they were going to run away with this one early. There was a controversial call from Jerome Boger and his staff. I think you guys have seen it by now, but that's the play where Joe Burrow's running out the pocket, making a throw, and as he throws it, the whistle gets blown. Now, at any level of football that you play, when the whistle is blown, that means the play is dead. Yeah, the Raiders got screwed on that. I'm not going to even lie. I'm not saying it just to, say it, because I do know some Raider fans personally, and I'm not saying it on their behalf. I'm saying it because it's real, and I watched the game, clearly, as you did. For a second, I thought the Raiders were going to come back, but the Bengals just kept keeping them out of the end zone, holding them to 3 points, and the Bengals called game with an interception, the final play of the game, and that stayed. The jungle went absolutely ballistic. Bengals won that game by a score of 26-19. I'm looking up some stats right now. Yeah, let's look those up. See what took place. So yeah, here's some numbers. On the Raiders side, Derek Carr, 29 of 54. That's way too many passes for him. 310 yards passing, 10 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. I said coming into this game, the key would be running the football. Brandon Jacobs only touched the ball 13 times. 13 carries, 83 yards. No touchdowns. Darren Waller was the leading receiver, 7 receptions. He was targeted 12 times. Caught the ball 7 times. 76 yards. And on the Bengals side, Joe Burrow, 24 of 34, 244 yards passing, 10 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 2 times. Jamar Chase just continues to show why he's probably going to be named the Offensive Rookie of the Year. 9 receptions, 116 yards, no touchdowns. Raiders did a good job of keeping him out the end zone. Bengals' first win in a playoff game since 1991. Now look, they've had some heartbreaks. Let's not lie. They've definitely had some heartbreaks, but they were able to pull through and persevere and get this one. They move on to the divisional round. I'm going to get into those matchups a little bit later. Let's go to game 2 on Saturday night. It was part 3 of a divisional showdown. New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills. Divisional matchups are always that more intriguing come playoff time. It's one thing when they happen in the regular season, but the playoffs, it's a completely different ball game. It's more personal. The weather was truly a fact. I believe it was about 5 or 6 degrees with a negative 6 or 7 degree wind chill. Now, you remember when they played in Buffalo the first time. The wind was a factor. New England ran the football down Buffalo's throat until Buffalo could stop it, which they couldn't, and the Patriots won that game by a score of 14-10. That second game I thought was a turning point in Buffalo's season because they figured New England out. They stopped the run, which I thought was key. They put the game in Mac Jones' hands, and Buffalo just had such a balanced offensive attack going into that game. They've been running the football a little bit more. Josh Allen is still being Josh Allen, and those receivers on the perimeter, along with Dawson Knox, they're still making plays for the quarterback and for the offense. And coming into this game, I said whoever could win the turnover battle would win this football game. Because both these defenses are so dominant, been 2 of the best defenses in the National Football League this year. Buffalo started fast and they did not let up. And when they play like this, they are an extremely tough out as a football team. Josh Allen, have a day, young man. Just throwing the ball left and right all over the field. He finished 21 of 25, 308 yards passing, and 5 touchdown passes. Every time Buffalo scored, every time Buffalo touched the ball, they scored. No field goals, no punts. They had their foot on the gas. They were in cruise control of the whole game, and they never let up. And as for New England, that's the worst effort I've seen from them in a playoff game in quite some time. There was no fight defensively. Josh Allen had all day to throw, and every time, this angered me so much. Every time New England would play man coverage on the outside and in the box, they would account for everybody else but one guy, Josh Allen. And Josh had a couple of big runs on Saturday. He actually had over 60 yards rushing and 11 yards per carry. Buffalo, they were just dominant. Allen spread the ball around to all his receivers, I believe. Dawson Knox caught 2 touchdown passes. Stephon Diggs didn't even catch a touchdown pass, but he did finish the game with 3 carries for 60 yards. The Patriots said, look, we're going to do what we're normally capable of doing. That's taking away who you like to get the ball to, and you're going to beat us elsewhere. And somehow, in another way. And here we go. Josh Allen took advantage of that. Dawson Knox had 2 touchdowns on the night. Gabriel Davis had a touchdown. And Emmanuel Sanders also had a touchdown. And then an offensive tackle, Tommy Doyle, Also had a touchdown. Look, offensive linemen are football players too, and they usually have the softest hands. So they ain't dropping nothing. But Buffalo just absolutely dominated this game by 30 points by a score of 47-17. Best I've seen the Bills look under Sean McDermott ever. That was a huge win for them. They send their division rivals home. New England needs to go get a wide receiver. They this year never had a receiver eclipse 100 yards. That's a problem. Get Max some help. Maybe that trend continues of teams drafting their young quarterbacks top target like Miami did for Tua with Jalen Waddle, and what Cincinnati did for Burrow with Jamar Chase and Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, who we're about to get into very shortly. But yeah, that's what New England needs to do. They just need to go back to the drawing board. They had a good year, but I know they could be better for sure. With that being said, why don't we go to the phone lines right now? As always, man, I love talking to people on the phone, and yeah, why don't we hear what some people had to say? Back to the phone lines, and look, this caller that I have on right now. I'm back to the phone lines, and look, this caller that I have on right now. This is a phone call that's been for about 2 or 3 months. So I'm gonna personally hold it against her, but she's finally here. Caller, you're on with the analyst on Monday Evening Quarterback. How can I help you today?
Hello. I'm so glad to be here. This is Cree, coming all the way from Chicago.
Finally, I got you on. You know, like finally. It's about time.
I know. It's my schedule. It's ugly.
Look, I get it. Life gets in the way, but what's on your mind football-wise? Talk to me.
All right, so my first question, obviously, since my favorite quarterback is in the running, who would you say is the MVP of this season?
Wow, you put me on the spot like that already. I'm gonna say it's Aaron Rodgers because he just amazes me. I mean, he's done it consistently back to back, and look at that game against Kansas City on November 7th. He was out with COVID. The Packers didn't even score 10 points. I think they only scored 7 points in that game. The Packers aren't the 1 seed without Aaron Rodgers, and it's a lot of little statistical categories. Now, look, it can go to either guy. I won't be mad if people say Brady. I won't be mad if people say Rodgers, but I think Aaron's going to repeat. He's just been that dominant. He's locked in, and he just looks like he's having fun out there again.
He does. I feel like, I'm going to be unbiased. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, but I wouldn't be mad if Tom Brady won.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Aaron Rodgers does have the edge because we're in a time where everything's visual.
Right.
We always talk about MVPs. It's like, okay, if I take this person off this team, what are they going to look like?
Right.
And with Aaron Rodgers, we got to see that firsthand because if Aaron Rodgers plays, the Chiefs lose.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love, he got in for the second half, I think, of the last game of the season, and they couldn't get it done with the Lions. But, I mean, it just shows how much of a difference maker Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah, and, I look at it, whenever I think of most valuable player, I think of taking that guy away, and the team is completely different. So I think he described that perfectly. Okay, that's question 1. You said you had a few for me. What's question 2?
I got a few. Okay, what separates the Cowboys from every other team in the playoff race?
When they're balanced, I think they're a tough out. When they run the football, that opens up the passing game, but I don't really trust their offense necessarily because one week they look great, and then the next week it looks like they forget how to play football. I think when teams make Dak one-dimensional, when they take away the run and they force him to throw the ball more than 35 times, they're not going to win. Like, look at when the Cowboys were winning football games. Like, we think they won, 6 in a row during the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. They were balanced. Like, Zeke was getting his carries. Tony Pollard was getting his carries. But the one thing I will say is they have a pretty good receiving core. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and now you have Cedric Wilson, who's taking over for Michael Gallup because he tore his ACL. So I think when they're balanced, they're a tough out, but that's far and few in between.
I agree.
Right. So, okay. All right. That's question number 2.
All right. So this is my main question. What's stopping the Packers and Titans from being a Super Bowl matchup?
The defenses on both sides. Now, I will say this. If there's one of the top seeds in each conference that I trust more than the other, it's hands down Green Bay because of the quarterback. I mean, they have the far more superior quarterback. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill. It's no disrespect to him, but when teams sit on that line of scrimmage and take away that grown man, known as Derrick Henry, look, when teams take him away, can you trust Ryan Tannehill to step back in that pocket and throw the ball 40 times in order to give you a chance? No. You can't. And on top of that, when the playoffs come, you got to be able to do 2 things. One, you got to be able to stop guys with your secondary. The Titans struggle with their secondary, so I'll lean to Green Bay in that aspect right there. And then the second one, you have to be able to get home and rush the passer. Like, look at all those teams that have won Super Bowls in years past. Look at Tampa last year. They were able to consistently get home and put pressure on Mahomes. Look at the Giants years ago, with an old Strahan and Justin Tuck getting home to Tom Brady. If you can't rush the passer around this time of the year, you're not going to have success. And the Packers, they've been pretty good. They've been improved defensively. Now, the one thing I'll say about Green Bay is this. Green Bay, they play defense in spurts. They look good in one half, and then they'll struggle in the second half. And that's what kind of concerns me, and that's what I feel is holding Green Bay back from being a Super Bowl contender.
Those are my exact sentiments.
Wow.
I agree.
Wow, you been reading my mind or something?
I have powers like that.
Okay. You got anything else for me, Cree?
No, that's all I got for you.
Now, I have a question for you. Now, at the end of every phone call, for the show, I always ask people what their favorite thing is about the Daily Blitz. And now I present that question to you. What's your favorite thing about the Daily Blitz?
I would say the knowledge. I mean, you have great use of the football terms that a lot of people don't even understand. I was watching a video one day of Cooper Kupp talking about all the different things that goes into football, and all of us were completely lost. I mean, people who've been watching football for years. But you're just extremely knowledgeable. You pay attention to the little things. You pay attention to every player. You're not just focused on the main players. So I love that about you. You're definitely focused, and you're great at what you do.
I appreciate that. Those words really moved me, and I'm so glad I finally got you on MEQ. Yeah. It's about time that it happened. We're going to have to do this again, and like I always say, the doors of Monday Evening Quarterback are always open to you. I hope you enjoy the playoffs this weekend. You got any bold predictions or anything for me?
Bold? I don't know if this is too bold, but I got the 49ers over the Cowboys. I have the Cardinals over the Rams.
Okay.
And I got the Chiefs over the Steelers.
Okay.
The Bengals and the Raiders, I don't know. That's tough. The rest are tough for me, but the others are definite.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on. We're going to have to do this again, okay?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Man, I love my phone callers so much. That was the best thing I could have come up with. Giving people a platform to speak on, because so many people have done it for me. You're probably watching that, and you're probably saying, I want that to be me. Could that be me? Yes, it could be you. Contact me, email me, c.simpson@thedailyblitz.blog. Put in the subject line, MEQ, phone call. You even put the emoji, and I know what you're talking about. And just say, you want to talk some football, come prepared with some questions, and be prepared to answer the question that I always ask. What's your favorite thing about the Daily Blitz, and why? Feedback is everything nowadays, and I really take the feedback very seriously, whether it's good feedback or whether it's feedback that could be a little constructive as well. You got to be able to take it all in. You have to, if you can take the good, you can take the constructive comments as well. But let's dive into day 2 of Wild Card Weekend. The day started at Raymond James in Tampa Bay, home of the defending champs. Philadelphia Eagles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady's 46th career playoff game. That's just absolutely remarkable. That means this man's been in the playoffs damn near his entire career. I can't imagine January football without Tom Brady. Whether he's playing in the Super Bowl or his team is eliminated, I still can't imagine playoff football without him. This was Tampa's first home playoff game since 2007. They did play in the Super Bowl in their backyard last year. They did end up winning the game as well. Now, Tampa came into this game pretty injured. No Leonard Fournette. Obviously, you know what happened with Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. That's still a big loss of the puzzle. And Brady was trying to connect on those crossing routes over the middle of the field with guys that he's not really on the same page with, and they were dropping the ball. And look, I've been watching Tom for years. He's somewhat of a perfectionist when it comes to football. He shows his frustration when guys don't make catches, but I like that Giovanni Bernard came back. That gave Brady another guy that he could throw the ball to. Running Keyshawn Vaughn, and I kept saying this would be a Gronk game, and he made a couple of nice plays here and there. Tampa's offensive line was injured at times. Look, I love Tristan Wirfs. Thought he was a great pick for them. He came in, and he's really set the tone for this Tampa offensive line. He became a leader at such a young and early age, and he had an immediate impact. He got hurt. Then when he tried to come back, he ends up re-aggravating that injury. That's another big loss for them. Defensively, this is the best I've seen Tampa look all year long. Remember I told you Tampa's defense really doesn't scare me? But look, it's a wide open ball game right now. Anybody can get hot at the right time. Tampa did win this game by a score of 31-15. Thought it was going to be a shutout until Philly showed a little heart at the end. Philly's game plan for this game was absolutely terrible. They didn't do anything to get Devontae Smith the ball. You even heard it in Troy Aikman's voice. He was getting angry, and I didn't blame him. I was too. I'm watching that game. I'm giving my thoughts about it on Twitter. Make sure you follow the Twitter page at DailyBlitz_61. Shameless plug, as my guy David On Point Hoffman from the Prime would always say. I'm just sitting here and I'm saying, look, use your play action. Use your play action. Take a shot or two down the field. This was Jalen Hurts' first playoff game. He's going to learn from this. He's going to get better. It was a long shot for the Eagles to win this game. The Eagles couldn't really run the football because Tampa's pretty stout against that defense. Tampa got back to stopping the run, I meant to say a couple of sentences ago, so excuse me on that. Brady was Brady. He did what he does and ends up winning his 35th career playoff game. This man is 35-11 in the playoffs. Wow. Just simply remarkable. The Bucs won. They ended up they will play next Sunday. Who they play next week is to be determined. Now, the second game of the day. This is the one I was really looking forward to. San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys. So much history between these two teams. Some of the greatest players that I've seen have played for either the 49ers, either the Cowboys, or either both. I mean, Deion Sanders is one. Charles Haley. Joe Montana played for the Niners. So did Steve Young. Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and all those guys are Hall of Famers now. So coming into the game, you know how they always say there's a team that you don't want to face in the playoffs? San Francisco's that team. They can physically wear you down. They run downhill, and they just need Jimmy to kind of control things. Kind of got away from that later in the game. You'll know what I'm talking about. But, man, I love this San Fran offense when they're clicking because you have George Kittle, who's a grown man. Brandon Ayuk is becoming more of a featured player within the offense. Jawan Jennings has been good. They're running the ball with Elijah Mitchell. But Deebo Samuel, I even said on Facebook last night, this kid amazes me. Just because of everything he's able to do. He can line up in the slot. You line him up on a perimeter. You can line him up in the backfield. And whatever he does, he's effective. The man rushed for 8 touchdowns this year. That's the most ever by a wide receiver in regular season history. Because you don't see that. But in this day and age of the NFL, you have to be able to put your versatility on display. And that's what Deebo does each week, in and out. San Fran, look, they were running away with this game. What hurt Dallas, besides a pretty bad play call, were the penalties. It seemed like every other snap or every other player, every 3 to 5 plays, the flag was being thrown. And you're not going to win football games being penalized. Dak didn't look all that great. You know, Mike McCarthy doesn't like to run the football. Dallas played hard. I got to give them that much because they fought back into the game, but at the end, it was just too late. San Francisco almost gave them that game up, and the 49ers did end up winning that game by a score of 23-17 as far as the stat line is concerned. I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, 16-25, $172, and no touchdowns, 1 interception. He has to play better than that. Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries, 96 yards, and 1 touchdown. Deebo Samuel, 10 carries, 72 yards, 1 touchdown, and receiving, Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 66 yards. Here's what I'll say. If the 49ers want to advance, they need to play better than how they played yesterday. There's no excuse with that. And they just got by the skin of their teeth. Now, here's how the matchups are looking right now in the NFC. The 49ers go to Green Bay on Saturday night. I cannot wait to get my hands on that one. A lot of memorable moments between the two in the playoffs, and there's a lot of history between them as well. The winner of tonight's game will go to Tampa Bay on Sunday. Now, if Dallas had won that game yesterday, Dallas would have gone to Tampa Bay, where their regular season started, remember? But they're at home right now. Some questionable play calling from the Cowboys, but it was the penalties that really crushed their confidence. The final game of the day, back to the AFC. Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the first time when they played, it was all Kansas City. I thought that was Mahomes' best game of the year because, remember what I've been saying, teams have been doing what to Kansas City? They've been keeping guys back, playing coverage underneath, and making them earn everything. So, with that being said, you have to be methodical as a quarterback. Take what they give you, and he's dinking and dumping it to the flat, getting the other receivers involved, and wanted to see, if Pittsburgh had made any adjustments, and they were a little aggressive early on, putting pressure on Mahomes, forced a fumble. TJ Watt, my defensive player of the year. If he doesn't get it this year, I'm ranting. I don't know where it'll be, but tune in, and you'll see. Covered a fumble and took it to the house, and then after that, they woke up a waking giant in Kansas City. Ended up going into the half with a 21-7 lead. And then after that, it was pretty much all Kansas City from here on out. Mahomes was locked in. He was surgical yesterday. 30-39, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. They got the running game going. Jerick McKinnon, 12 carries, 61 yards. He averaged 5 yards per carry. Not the greatest, but it's not bad either. And Travis Kelce was the leading receiver. 5 catches, 108 yards, 21 yards per carry, a touchdown. Jerick McKinnon was on the receiving end of a flip in the red zone. The flip that Mahomes does, the little pitch that he does in the red zone, is the equivalent to Tom Brady running it in. You just know what's coming, and there's no answer to stop it. The Chiefs' defense, they were able to get off the field, pressured Ben Roethlisberger a couple of times, sacked him twice. We're in his face. Ben, probably going to be his last game. 29 of 44, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's not bad for him. I said Najee Harris was going to be the key, and the Steelers just couldn't get the running game going. That's been a problem for them the last couple of years. Najee, 12 attempts, 29 carries, only 2 yards per attempt. That's not going to cut it. The Steelers, their season ended like I think a lot of people expected. Lost that game by a score of 42-21. So here's the AFC playoff bracket. Cincinnati, they will begin the playoffs next Saturday afternoon against the number 1 seed Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry more than likely will play. Can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see Joe Burrow in that offense once again. And the Buffalo Bills will be playing the Kansas City Chiefs. As some of you may know, and if not, I'm here to explain. The Bills and Chiefs met in the playoffs in January last year in the AFC Championship. Kansas City won that game by a score of 38-24 to move on and get back to the Super Bowl. I'm going to be bold here, and I'm going to say it now. You know what? Nope. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until you see it in my preview. So now there's only one game left. Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. When I look at the regular season matchups between these two, the first time they met, it was at SoFi, where the game is tonight. The Cardinals went into SoFi, and they just punched the Rams in the mouth, and the Rams could never recover. The Cardinals shocked the world, and that put me on notice. That made me kind of say, oh, okay, look, they're the real deal. They won that game by a score of 37-20. Then on December 13th, they play on Monday Night Football. And for a second, I thought the Rams were about to give that game away because of Matthew Stafford just throwing the ball all over the field. The Rams were able to get their revenge, and they won that game by a score of 30-23, which put them back into the driver's seat in the NFC West. And here we are, Rams won the division. Even though they lost last week, they needed either to win that game against San Francisco or they needed Arizona to lose, and Arizona did lose to Russell Wilson's Seattle Seahawks. Now, the game overall, when I look at Arizona, you really see how much DeAndre Hopkins is missed because he allows people to play in their natural spots offensively. Christian Kirk in the slot, Rondale Moore in the slot, A.J. Green can play either in the slot or on the outside. And he's that safety valve for Kyler Murray, meaning Kyler can just throw it up and DeAndre's going to come away with it. Like, he is so valuable to that football team. I think for the Cardinals to win tonight, they got to run James Conner and they got to run Chase Edmonds. And they got to get Zach Ertz the football. I think he's the X factor for the Cardinals. Now, when I look at the Rams, which Rams team is going to show up? That's the $1 million question because through the first 3 games of the year, they looked unbeatable. Stafford was supposedly playing at an MVP level, and then they cooled down. Were 7-1 at one point, lost a couple of games in a row. So you talk about just that up and down, up and down. He's been careless with the ball, meaning he's been throwing a lot of interceptions as of late, and for them to have a chance, he has to play well. He cannot turn the ball over. You turn the ball over, you're not going to win. I think the key to that game tonight is going to be Sony Michel. He has experience in these games. He got that in Georgia under Kirby Smart and then played for Belichick and with Brady in New England. And was a key part of why the Patriots won the Super Bowl his rookie year when the Patriots beat these Los Angeles Rams. Actually, I almost took it back there. This Los Angeles defense, they're going to have to get after Kyler Murray. This is why you acquired Von Miller, was for a playoff run. I think some scoring is going to happen in this game tonight. I like the Rams by a score of 35-27. I'm going to give out a game ball now, and I want to know who you guys have winning the game. tonight. But as far as game balls, you know what? It was tough to give it to just one guy. So I'm actually going to give out cold game balls. One's going to Patrick Mahomes, 30 of 39, 404 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and the other one is going to Josh Allen. He was just locked in. He went 21 of 25, 308 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions in a 30-point win over the New England Patriots to advance. I can't wait for the divisional round next week. That Bills and Chiefs game is really going to tell me a lot about either of those teams. Now remember, Buffalo beat Kansas City earlier in the year. And that gave Buffalo some confidence. But when I look at the Bills, are going to have to slow that game down. They cannot match Mahomes score for score. And can Kansas City's defense, who's much improved now compared to when they met the first time. I can't wait to see that game plan. As always, I'm previewing every single playoff game starting tomorrow with the Bengals and Titans, and then just working my way up the schedule. And then by next Sunday night, we will be down to the Final Four, which is Conference Championship round, another one of my favorite rounds during the NFL playoffs. Normally, this is the time when I have people sending me questions, but I don't have any. And with that being said, I'm just going to end the show right now. Guys, thank you for always tuning in to support me. It means so much to me. As always, I like to give shout outs here. My amazing mother, love you so much. My sister, Taylor, love you to life. My son, better known as my dog, Siebes. I think you probably heard him bark at the beginning of the episode. My siblings, my other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, some of my other friends, Corey, Deshaun, Josh, Rob Carter, Mike Griffin, Alex Bennett, my other guy, Alex. He's also in our group chat. My other friends, Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, Candace Carter, Kim L. Fryer, my dad. Can't believe I forgot my dad. Love you. As always proud of you, and thank you for instilling knowledge in me for me to do what I'm doing now. And that can be said to my mother as well. As the season winds down, you just think about who's been with you for the duration of the season, because it is a long haul. It really is. It is a long haul. A lot can take place, and you're missing certain things, but I wouldn't trade this lifestyle for anything in the world. The year 11 is almost coming to an end. I'm already looking forward to what's in store for the 12th year of the Daily Blitz. I want to know who you guys have winning the game tonight. Let me know and send it to me. Put it in the comments of this video when it's up on YouTube. How can you keep up with me on the radio? Well, first, how can you keep up with me on the internet? Log on to the website, which is thedailyblitz.blog. Follow us on Twitter at dailyblitz_61. Like our Facebook fan page, facebook.com. It's in the search box, type in The Daily Blitz, and then go on Instagram and follow us at thedailyblitz_61. Keep up with me on the radio outside of Monday Evening Quarterback. I do contribute to other shows every Monday and Tuesday. You can catch me on The Prime with David Hoffman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins, and Matt James. Every Wednesday, you can catch me on The Nerd Zone with Ronnie Coomp, John Danzo, Christopher Lawrence, and Ryan Shaw. Fridays during the college football season, you can catch me on College Football Showdown with Israel Rivera, Matt James, and when he wants to show up, as I jokingly like to say, TJ Hopkins. And every Sunday, you can catch me on The Sports Cubicle with Devin Single, Michelangelo Mercado, Paul Shivari. I actually just gave an interview to those guys a couple of weeks ago. I will be back on with them. If you live outside the state of Illinois and want to check out The Sports Cubicle, which is on live radio, let me know, and I will gladly send you the link so you can tune in to support me. Guys, I always appreciate it. have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the game tonight. We have a wild card playoff game on a Monday. Hopefully it sticks around like this again. I want to know who you guys have going to play Tom Brady and the defending champs next week. Like I said, enjoy the game. Be encouraged. Go get what you want. Enjoy the rest of this MLK Day. And stay safe. Wear your mask and socially distance yourself. And most importantly, stay warm. I will see you guys next week.